we're going to go over the process of synchronizing audio and video, and sometimes synchronizing multiple cameras together. There's a lot of reasons why audio and video are recorded separately on set. Even very moderately sized productions usually have a sound mixer who's using his own gear completely separate from the camera department. I mean, even videographers or small, this is an audio recorder, and this microphone is running through a cable to this, and this is recording the sound coming from the microphone. This is a completely separate system from my camera. There's a lot of reasons to record your audio and your video separately. You get a lot more control, you get a lot higher quality. And of course, if you're shooting an action scene, if there's something expensive that's happening, we maybe can only do it once, so we're going to record it from as many angles as possible. I was script supervisor on set quite a few years ago, and we threw a car off of a cliff. We only had 4 cars to work with, so you can bet we had 7 different cameras all running at the same time. So let's go through this real quickly. So when your footage comes in, the video and the audio are definitely going to be separated. Now, most of the time on a regular production, this is what the camera footage will look like. A lot of cinema cameras, especially like Blackmagic and Red, tend to have a similar naming construction where they will do the name of the mag and then the name of the clip. So you can see that this is all A1 because the magazine or memory card never changed. But with every new clip, we get a new number. And then I don't know what these numbers in the middle mean. Looks like maybe it's the date and the hour and the minute. Every single camera does it differently. It's just important to try to note the pattern that your camera is using so that you can understand it and go through it chronologically. So because it's just a sequential number of clips, there's no way to know what this was supposed to be named based on the script. On set, there will be a script supervisor who will determine what this shot is supposed to be called, and he'll tell the camera operator and the audio guy. The camera operator will write it down on the slate and then show the slate to the camera, and then the audio guy will digitally input it into the mixer. You don't know what A001C001 is until you double click on it. Now we can see that it's 1 alpha take 1. So to know the name of the clip, you have to double click and see the thumbnail. Or you can go down here to icon view. And then when these are big enough, you can see what's what. Now, like I said, the audio mixer is typically inputting the actual take names. Sometimes even go so far as to organize it by folder. So you can see here, the raw audio, this has not been modified by an editor. This is how it came off of the SD card because the audio mixer was naming every take as we went. This was 1 alpha, and these are all the takes in 1 alpha. So audio is usually a little bit easier to see than video. If an audio mixer didn't do that, though, then all you'd have to do is click in and then find the beginning where they call the slate number.
1 apple, take 1 marker.
There you go. So this is 1 alpha, take 1. And this is 1 alpha, take 1. So these two go together. Now, when there's only 1 audio and 1 video, this doesn't matter. But when there's multiple cameras, it does matter. So I try to get in the habit of clicking the same, of making my selections in the same order. If I hit my audio first, and then I hit my camera 1 second, I'm going to want to always do that. So if there's 3 or 4 cameras in a row, that way, if we select camera 1 and then camera 2 and then camera 3, they're going to show up in that order in the multicam. So because this is only 1 audio and 1 video clip, we could right-click and hit Merge Clips. What this will do is it will just make 1 clip where there is now 2, and it'll attach the audio and the video together. I don't ever do this. There's a lot of reasons that I don't do this. I'm not saying you can't do it. A few years ago, there was a lot of bugs where suddenly our merged clips broke. The audio just simply wouldn't work anymore. And because it's a clip, not a sequence, you can't go in and see what's going on. So we lost 3 days of work. And after troubleshooting it for an entire day, we just had to redo all of our assistant editing. And it was atrocious. I mean, we had to start over on the edit. It was atrocious. So merge clips have been buggy in the past. But not only that, it literally just makes a clip. And so there's no way to modify it. You can't slide the audio and the video around at all to fix the synchronization. If the auto sync was bad, there's just not as much power to them. So funny enough, even if I only have 1 camera, I still do a multicam clip. Every time I've synchronized anything in Premiere for the past 5 or 6 years, I've just made them multicams, even if I only have one camera. So click Create Multicam Source Sequence. Now, I think by default, it's going to move source clips to processed clips bin. That'll do exactly what it sounds like. It'll make a folder in your root project called Processed Clips, and every single clip that has gone through the multicam process, it will move there. That's one nice way of keeping track that stuff that you've handled has been done. Because I like to try to keep the raw source folder true to how it is within the Finder, I don't like to do that. But that's an option. And then there's a bunch of different synchronize points. You can synchronize by in points or out points. You can synchronize by time code, sound code, clip marker, or audio. So let's go through each of these. If I was to go to the beginning here and I was to find this waveform, now the slate makes it really, really easy to synchronize sound because all you have to do is match the two claps. So what I would do is I would zoom in, I would make sure that I was on the frame of this clap, and then I could hit an in point, or I could make an out point, or I could make a marker, and those would all be things that this could reference. So if I made a marker or an in point here, and then I went to the video clip,
One apple, take one marker.
and then I find that exact same frame where that clapper claps. Now I can go in here and hit Create Multicam Source and do it by clip marker, and that's where it will line the two of them up. You can do in point, out point, or clip marker to get a manual sync. Typically, that's kind of more of a last resort. I'll do that if the auto sync is glitching or if something wasn't done well on set. So there's a couple of other options here. Let's talk about them. One option is time code. So the audio guy on set may have a device that he can stick onto the cinema camera that jams the time code. So there's an arbitrary number that is frame perfect that just keeps running whether or not any devices or cameras are recording, and you can tell the camera and the sound mixer to run that exact same number. And so we start and we stop on different random moments of the arbitrary time code, and like I said, it's running all the time whether or not the camera or the sound is recording. So the camera and the audio are running the exact same frame. So if time code was jammed on set, then you could hit synchronize by time code, and then it would automatically look at the time code of both audio and video clips and then line them up. Sound time code is essentially that same, but is looking at the audio first. Now, when you synchronize by audio, Adobe Premiere is going to analyze the waveforms of the audio and the video clips, and then it's going to match them up so that the peaks and valleys are synchronized. This only works if the camera was recording scratch audio. So like I've mentioned before, my camera does have a microphone, but it sounds like this. It sounds really, really, really awful, obviously, which is why we use a nice microphone. If it wasn't recording any audio at all and it was completely mute, then we would not be able to automatically synchronize by audio because there would be no waveforms on the camera clip to analyze. So I always ask my camera guys to make sure that they're running scratch audio because this is the main way that I synchronize. It's by far the easiest. Time code is awesome. Time code is technically easier as an editor, but it's also a huge hassle to set up, and a lot of times it doesn't work. So the one that works the very most often, that's the most reliable, and is by far the easiest to do from a post-production editor perspective is definitely an audio synchronize. So as long as your cameras are running scratch audio, you obviously already have audio from the audio. And so I think it's the best way to synchronize. So you do any of those different settings, and then you can do a video clip name plus something, audio clip name plus something, or custom. For our purposes here, I'm just going to name it right off the bat. So I'm going to do 1 alpha underscore for take 01. If there's more than 10 takes, I'm going to want that 0 there as a placeholder so that my 1 doesn't match up with my 11. And then I hit OK. And then it processes. Double click on it. And if we go and we watch it back,
put the money in the bag or you die.
and then we can open this in the timeline. And you can see the camera synchronized with the audio. If we look here, we can see that waveform lines up. We're done with one Apple Take 1. So we check that off to make sure that we got it. We check that off to make sure that we got it. And then we do the next one. And we do that for every single clip in the film. This isn't even that many.